It is indeed your feel-good breakfast show ahead of a feel-good weekend. Japan, of course, looking to extend what would only be described as a fairy tale run, their story in the 2019 Rugby World Cup. And of course, South Africa standing in their way in that quarter-final encounter on Sunday. Rassie Erasmus making no changes to the team, not having to, thankfully, due to the few injury concerns. Our senior sports writer, Vrede, joins us to unpack a really interesting fixture. We also touch on some of the other quarterfinals, some really heavy hitters tomorrow. But I think South Africa, first of all, has been given a dream run. Let's be honest here. We want to be facing Japan now. We're doing all right.
Yeah, that Ireland-Japan result really suited us. I mean, it threw us onto the side of the draw that's undoubtedly more favourable for us. If we get through this one, which I think we would, I mean, Wales or France,
we'll take that.
Yeah, and then in a one-off against, I think, the All Blacks in the final. You got to fancy us. I mean, you got to get up, and if you're not excited now, then...
Well, I think Garen Lamley put it beautifully. He said, you know, in order to win this World Cup, the All Blacks are going to have to beat us twice, which doesn't happen very often. We just have to beat them once, which we've proven can happen. So,
yeah.
Just saying. But we have to get through Japan first. It's one thing to say that a team is just riding the wave of their obviously brilliant support being on home soil, and the fans have been amazing. But they've been playing really good rugby. They've been getting the basics right, playing good territory, good possession, and individuals are sparking at the right moment. So you've got that balance.
Right. The key feature of their game has been how structured and organised they've been, particularly on attack. But we all know that defence is kind of the cornerstone of the World Cup, and they haven't looked vulnerable. Well, at most stages in this competition. Ireland tested them a bit. And they came through that particular test well. But the attack is so structured, so well organised. They're kind of clinical in the tight phases. Set pieces are good. They're a good side.
And they fought really back from behind twice now as well, which is very notable. Let's talk about the box. No changes, in fact, to the team, except for Bongi Mbonani getting the start at hooker, which I think is great. Spoiled for choice in so many of the positions. I know a player you quite love. Faf de Klerk is obviously going to be the first choice in that space, but I'm expecting something from him. With so much now we've seen pressure or competition for that berth, so many of the positions. This is kind of a good proving ground again for the semis. Players are going to step up.
Yeah, I think the gap between our last game and this quarterfinal now has been good for us. It would have given players like Faf de Klerk, as you mentioned, opportunity to refine, particularly his kicking game, which I don't think has been really on at the level that you would have expected it to be. And it's so central to the way the box play and will play against Japan that this period between the last game and the quarterfinal was critical.
The Oaks have just been box kicking. That's all they've been doing for the entire practice. While everyone else has been running shadow drills or whatever, Rassie's been like, again,
have a kick.
Again. But it is, like you say, a very important part of the way that the Boks are playing at the moment. When we look at the mix on the bench, mainly forwards, he's going to be using the big boys to bash it up.
Yeah, so again, gone with that same split that we went with against Italy. So 6-2, which I think is the right way to go. And if you look at the guys coming off the bench, somebody like Malcolm Marx, for instance, so Bongi Mbonani starts the game. Rassie has spoken about why he wants to start with Bongi, and he's made no secret of the fact that they're going to try and pound it up through the phases. And then when you've got players like Malcolm Marx coming off the bench, I think Japan will stay with us for 60. But the resistance will crumble after that.
You talk about impact players. Steven Kitsoff is one of the best impact players that we've got. Arja Snyman, unlucky not to have a start, I felt. Would you have him and Franco on the bench?
Yeah, so those are players that would start in most other teams in the World Cup, right? So again, to reiterate, our ability to not only to maintain but to up the ante in those last 20 minutes is going to be critical against Japan. They, like I said, defensively great, well organized, structured. But we want to wear down that resistance. And when you're talking about a player like Arja Snyman, who I think we spoke about the last time, I think will go on to be one of the best players in the world.
No, completely.
There's no question that the Boks have the edge over Japan in that facet of the game as well.
heartbreaking to me that you've got to either have Cheslin Colby or Sibu and Corsi. That has become one of the choices here. But Cheslin fits. That Anchor does seem to be a bit of a worry almost every match that he plays. But no massive injury worries here. This is a team that looks incredibly strong.
Yeah, for me, Cheslin Colby is the second best backline player in the world at the moment. I like Bowden Barrett. And just for game-breaking ability, the two are really close. So Cheslin being fit is a massive plus for us. And especially in a game like this where things are expected to be tight, we've got to take opportunities. The very few opportunities are created for you. Cheslin's game-breaking ability is critical for us.
It's almost 100% conversion rate. He's going to, if he touches the ball, there will be a try. It's almost, I think we're sitting on about 95%. But I think the Springboks definitely having the edge there, despite this beautiful upswelling of support we've seen in Japan. Other quarterfinal fixtures to look out for. Tough tomorrow, man. Really tough day. Some massive encounters. How are you seeing tomorrow playing out?
Look, I think
England all the way, surely, against Australia.
Yeah, I think England have been building like sort of quietly throughout the pool phase, and they're going to have too much for Australia. I just think in like the key facets of the game, particularly up front, and in the goal kicking stakes, they better. And goal kickers have been decisive throughout every Rugby World Cup tournament, and I think that's a key area of the game. And they just edge it for me.
Obviously, the All Blacks more than just edging it in their encounter against Ireland, but this is an Irish side that has been ahead of them in the rankings. If that Ireland team fires, this is when you want to do it. From a South African perspective, it would be great if this is where they chose to fire.
Yeah, so Ireland have put the All Blacks under pressure, particularly in Dublin. But in a World Cup game, I think the All Blacks are just a more refined team. They'll go on. I think we'll play them in the final, and then it's that one-off like you spoke about.
Yeah,
earlier.
man, completely. No, you get a sense of trajectory during a World Cup. Some teams not quite there. Australia maybe not at the right crest yet. They showed some brilliant fight back against Wales. But you get a sense that out of all of the teams, the team that's on the most consistent graph has got to be the All Blacks. So it's going to be a tough task.
Yeah, so the All Blacks, I mean, there's something to be said about the journey that they've travelled in the World Cup. I think the 2011 World Cup was like a turning point for them because they got that voodoo off their back and were able to just kick on from there. But the All Blacks in a World Cup, you never bet against them. They've got a great team and one that I think only the All Black, only the Springboks can match.
Completely, man. Ryan, thank you so much for giving us your perspective. You can share that hashtag Stronger Together Love on all of our social media platforms. Copy Ryan in as well.